So the question is, how do you know when you're enlightened?
Yeah. Or do you experience afterwards, like, oh, I think I was enlightened?
Or do you experience, you discover later on that you were enlightened all along? Yeah, that's right. After some time you understand what it is, then you realize you've been enlightened all along. What do you mean by enlightenment?
Yeah, what do you mean by when do you?
No, that's the best question. Because if you know what enlightenment is, then you're enlightened.
Well, I know when I maybe don't feel so good, like that day, or then I'm obviously not enlightened. Yeah.
Well, no, you're enlightened when you have a bad day.
Sorry.
He says, when I have a bad day, then I know that I'm not enlightened then, right?
Yeah.
But you're enlightened then.
I can be.
No, you are.
Great.
Because is enlightenment freedom for the jiva, the individual, or is enlightenment freedom from the individual? We hear from? For? How many say for? Somebody says both. Both? Freedom from, freedom for, or both? What is it?
Both. From.
All of the above. No, it's just something to understand. Enlightenment is very simple. It's really very simple. Enlightenment is, and we don't use that word enlightenment too much. I just put it on my books and stuff to attract people. No, because it's a popular word, but it's a dangerous word. Because when you say enlightenment, so many people have many different notions. Many people who are seeking enlightenment don't even know what they're seeking. Our argument is you should know what you're seeking before you start seeking it. In case you happen to find it, you'll know when you got it. Many people get enlightened, don't know it's enlightenment, and walk right on. Because they don't know what enlightenment is. So, what is enlightenment? Enlightenment is the knowledge that I am whole, complete, limitless, non-dual, actionless, ordinary, unconcerned awareness. That, not just the knowledge, but the freedom that that knowledge confers. Okay? And that knowledge should, if that knowledge should be hard and fast. What does that mean, hard and fast? There should be no doubt in your mind that is you, that you are awareness. As long as there's a doubt in your mind, you have the knowledge, but you don't have the fruit of the knowledge. The fruit of the knowledge of enlightenment is what? Freedom. What does freedom mean? It means freedom from experience. We said the ultimate object, the object that contains all the objects, is experience. And enlightenment is freedom from experience. Because as long as you're caught up in experience, what's going to happen? What is your life like? A life of constant change, isn't it? Why? Because experience, what? It changes endlessly, doesn't it? So to the degree to which I'm identified with what's happening, that experience is just what's happening, to that degree I change. I suffer, I go up and down and so forth. And that knowledge, when it's hard and fast, should render your vasanas, your conditioning, it should render the non-binding vasanas, the binding vasanas, non-binding. That doesn't mean you don't have any desires or fears. It means what? Acting on those desires and fears is optional. You can do it, you can not do it, or you can do something altogether different. That's what freedom means, for the jiva. So enlightenment is freedom from the jiva, and for the jiva, what is it? You have the option of what? Not acting on your desires. In other words, you're not compelled by your desires and fears to act. And, furthermore, one more thing. Your sense of doership and authorship and ownership is neutralized by that knowledge. You know that what? Ishvara Maya is the doer. That Ishvara is the author of all the actions, and Ishvara owns everything. There's no sense of ownership. There's no sense of I and mine. If all of those stipulations are met, then you're enlightened. You're in freedom from the jiva, freedom for the jiva. Neutralized binding vasanas rendered non-binding. A binding vasana is one that you can't help. That's one you have to do. That's one you feel you must do, I have to do. If I don't do it, my whole life, there isn't even a question. You just have to do it. That's a binding vasana. Like alcoholism, or sex addiction, or food. Food is a great one. People get tied up completely, wrapped up completely with food. They can't stop eating. It's when the tail wags the dog. You don't have any control anymore over your actions or your thoughts or your feelings. So those binding vasanas need to be rendered non-binding. That doesn't mean you don't have desires, but it means what? Your desires are not opposed to Dharma, will not what? Cause you to violate Dharma. Okay? In other words, you're living completely in harmony with Dharma. Dharma means the rules. Dharma means the laws, the physical laws, the psychological laws, and the moral laws that operate in the Dharma field. Which means what? Your life will be peaceful. Because you'll be in harmony with what normal people call reality. With everyday life. When your desires are strong, or your fears are strong, or binding, then what happens? There's a very, very strong tendency a possibility that you will break the rules to get what you want. Look at these fines that they're giving the big banks now. Have you, yeah? There's another fine that was just levied by the European Commission, $3.4 billion against Barclays and a number of big banks. Why? Because they broke the rules. Their desires were so strong, they set up what? A situation that caused them to violate all the rules and to steal money. They could not live within the law, because within the rules. What did they have to do? They had to like break the rules because their desires were so strong, they were willing to break the rules. When your desires in a personal relationship are too strong, or your fears are too strong, you'll injure the people you're in relationship with. You'll lie to them, you'll cheat, you'll avoid, you'll do all sorts of things. So an enlightened person lives in harmony with Dharma. He or she doesn't feel that he or she can gain anything by breaking the rules. And you feel that you have nothing to lose by doing the right thing. Very often people don't do what's right because they feel it's going to cost them something and they're going to lose something. But an enlightened person doesn't feel that way. A enlightened person's happy to gain and happy to lose. Why? Because there's no gain or loss. Because I'm the self. That's what these people know.